we have a good time, but eventually someone ends up falling in love.
Alrighty, welcome back, ZacharyTunes. Again, I've forgotten what episode this is. I want to say it's episode 8, I think. And we are here. We are back. It has taken me approximately 6 hours to get around to filming this. Like, I'd planned to do it today, and I've just procrastinated it for hours. Can I tell you why? Not really. It doesn't really make any sense. All I got to do is sit here, yap for a little bit, and call it a day. But something about it, I just couldn't drag to it today. But here we are. We're starting, and that's the important part. And I think partially what's kicked me into gear is I've just opened Facebook for the first time in I have no idea how long. But I opened Facebook and I see an old friend's profile, and they've had a kid, and you know they've got their family on now. I think they're married. They've had a kid, all this kind of stuff. Which nuts for one, like, can you imagine? Anyway. Let's not go into my crisis about me being out here and doing my thing and people doing whole up family lives and that. But the thing that I wanted to talk about is they posted a picture of them, their child, and they'd AI'd in their dead nan. Now, I know that, like, I'm trying not to laugh too hard about it, because obviously, sensitive subject. It is, like, it's their dead nan, you know, and, like, obviously there's a lot of feelings there. However, come on, man. And the thing is it's AI'd in really badly. It's AI'd in really, really badly. And it makes it funny. Like, if you're gonna do that, it's gotta look like it was supposed to be, you know. And, like, for me personally, I wouldn't do that. If they're dead, they're dead, you know. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't love them or anything you have with them, and if you want to create pictures of them, fine. But for me, to bring them into a picture that they never were in, that feels stranger to me. That feels weird. But that's not the point of this. The point is that the picture was just done really badly and it was really funny. And that made me think, alright, that's enough internet for today. I put my phone down and I was like, how's a good way to stop me from being on my phone? Use it for the intended purpose that I literally am supposed to be using it for. So here we are. And we finally managed to get into today's episode. And it's funny, I should have loads to talk about. I should have loads to yap about. It's been 2 weeks. Because I missed last week's, as I had my friend Simran over. She came over to visit me. And during that week, I didn't record. There is a crying baby outside the house. It's always this corner. Yeah, I had Simran over. So I'm gonna go check out the crying baby. I just don't get it. I've just started. Yeah, that's crazy, right? So it's like it's a child in a buggy screaming, and they've stopped directly underneath my window. Like, they were mid-walk, and then they've gone, this is the place I should stop. She's not dealing with the kid. She's just sat there crying. She's like in her bag. And she's sat there crying. I'm just saying, throw the kid away. You can stay there, but just not the yappy kid. Yuck. Anyway, sorry about that. Where was I? Yes, I had my Yeah. I had my friend Simran over to come visit me, which was really sweet, actually. I hadn't imagined that she'd come visit me, but it was really, really nice that she did, and it was good to see her. And it's one of those things that, especially when like, you're good friends with somebody, but you haven't had like a long time to sort of flesh out the bonds of your friendship or any of that stuff, and like a commitment such as like flying out here to come see me for no reason, it's a quick thing for me to be like, what, I appreciate that from you. Like I don't expect you to do that. I don't expect anyone to do that. I know everyone's got their things. Like same reason I don't fly around and see everyone. It's a difficult thing. But the fact that she did that, I appreciate that. And she's off to Germany. She should be in Germany soon. Actually, she should be there in like a week. I think actually she's moving to Germany for a year, half a year. So if I can, I'm going to go out there and visit her, which I think would be really cool. Other friends in Germany, Phoenix, I will hunt you down. Although she's in Canada right now, actually. What gangster. Phoenix is... I really want to get her on here at some point, because she is so cool. She is such a cool human. And originally, my first ever idea of doing a podcast came from her, because she was planning to do one, and I wanted to help. And then it came to the idea of us doing one together, and it just never ended up coming to fruition or anything. However, I would still love to any interaction with that woman is a blessing, so I would love to do that. Anyway, Simran came over to visit me. That's what I was talking about. And I didn't record any chess videos, record any of these, any ZacharyTunes. But luckily, I've pre-recorded pretty much everything that I post. I tend to be like a little bit ahead of. So I'm about a month ahead in these videos. So whenever you see these, I recorded this like a month ago. And for my chess videos, I'm like a week ahead. So I managed to keep up with the schedule, which is nice. That's what I like. But then I had a little bit of catch-up work to do to get myself back on track. For which the chess video is fine. We're back and we're good. We've got like our week buffer back. Whereas for these, we are now still a week behind, and now a week and a couple of days behind, because this has taken me so long to get around to. However, in that time, it allowed me to think about what I want to do with these. And I'm enjoying going through the top 500, and I will continue doing that, and I think that'll be like my banker. However, yesterday, I was listening to... What was I listening to? I was just... What did I start with? I can't remember what song I started with. It might have been Media Luna by Mora. And I was basically listening to a bunch of Spanish music, like some Spanish speaking music, like some reggaeton, some other God knows what other genres. Again, this is why I need to go through genres. But I was listening to them, and I was like, especially while I'm here in Spain, I should really like get into some Spanish music and have like a good catalogue of Spanish music that I know from like I know deep worth what that I enjoy, and like I have my Spanish songs, but not like a gigantic catalogue like I do, for example, English music. And I was like, I should make an active effort to increase that, which is essentially what this podcast is all about. I'm making an active effort right now to increase the catalogue of music that I know in English. So I was like, I should probably do a couple episodes of that on Spanish albums, on some albums that I would like to listen to in general. And I was listening to a couple songs that I was enjoying. I found El Rincón by what's his name, Milo J or algo. I think his name's something like that. But that's sort of a different vibe of music, and I was like, okay, I'm fucking with you. So I started going down that rabbit hole, and I was like, yeah, I would like to explore this. So I've given a shout out to my boy Ibra, and I've gone, hey, I know that you've got good music taste. Hit me with a couple albums that you think are like, I should know them by heart. Give me those albums, and then I'm gonna have a look through them and take to learn them and get into them. So I'm excited about that, because this is the thing, I really enjoy Spanish music. I've been writing a lot of poetry in Spanish. It just feels right for poetry, actually. But Spanish is a very poetic language. And I'd like to be able to write good poetry in Spanish. I said I don't write good poetry in English, but like I'd like it to make sense, you know. So perhaps in the future I'll study some more Spanish, like properly study some more Spanish. But I want to go through music for now, and I'm really enjoying, especially. I tell you what really really bangs, right? If you have a large traffic cone, your way through, and listen to some good, sad Spanish music. Oh, I tell you, it's magical. It's magical. You can transform any night into the most like ambient environment where you're just really getting into your feeling. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's magical. It's so good, so good. Nothing me. I was just lying there listening to that. I also love that same vibe, but with like classical music. If you just want to be in your head, and you just want to think for a bit, and you just want to let your thoughts go wild, classical music. Yeah, man. Shout out Julia for putting me on with classical music, because like the thing is, like I had listened to it, and like I know it, I'm like fine, whatever. But like I never took the time intentionally to be like, I would like to listen to somebody play piano, you know. I was like, okay. But well, actually, my an ex girlfriend of mine a while back before that, she could play the piano, and I liked listening to her play the piano, but I never really took to it that much. But it comes to this time around, and I like there's a specific date I was shown a song, and it was possibly the most beautiful piece of music, and the most well-timed piece of music that I've ever heard in my life. Like, she somehow managed to find, like, she took the day, our entire relationship, everything, she took all the context, went, here you go, plays everything in sound form. It was the perfect song, and I was like, wow. And since then, it's just hooked me. It just captivated me. Like, as soon as, just every now and again, I'm just like, yeah, I would like to chill out. Like, I went to bed a couple nights ago listening to classical music just because I wanted to lie down in my bed, look at my ceiling, and listen to classical music. And it was fantastic. I did fall asleep to said classical music until I was woken up by the screams of a voice that I did not know shouting my name from the street. And I was like, huh? I woke up in a like half stupor, I couldn't tell if I was awake or asleep, if I was dreaming or what was going on. But I had a feeling something called me. And I was like, let me go check. Check. So I get up. I walk over to my window. I open my window, and there's 3 women stood outside looking at my window. One of them being my housemate. Turns out she'd gone out that night, but forgot her keys. So she'd been sat there throwing an empty water bottle at my window, trying to wake me up like that. And these passers-by had gone like, "You good, love?" what's going on. She sat there 80s style, like throwing rocks at her lover's window, trying to get him to take her back, and she explains the situation to them, and then they start shouting my name. Bear in mind, this is like 2:30 in the morning, and they're screaming my name at a closed window. But fair play to me, it worked. And then we managed to get her in, so she didn't have to sleep outside, which was nice. But that was an interesting scenario. And the one night that I decide to go to sleep to music is the night that I need to have my ears able to hear. Maybe even it helps. Maybe it's because my ears were listening to the music that they caught my name. Who knows? Maybe that's how that works. Probably not. But I'm gonna believe that that's the case. Gonna take a sip of water, and then I'm gonna yap a little bit more. Oh yeah, agua. What a fantastic thing. So in a couple weeks, in 16 days, there is a regional tournament for Ultimate Frisbee. That the club that I have been going to is going to be in, and they're going to field 2 teams for it. One that's going just to sort of like participate essentially, and one more competitive side. Apparently, this is what I've been told, and they were thinking that possibly I will be in the competitive side, which that's cool. That's really cool. I'm excited for that because I sort of just turned up with the idea of I wanted to just recreationally go run around a bit and play a sport that I enjoyed. So the idea of being able to go to one of the regional tournaments and play to represent something, to actually try and do something, that's cool to me. I'm excited for that, and I'm looking forward to see how we go. I want to make sure that I'm sort of in the best shape possible, which I say as I'm not going to the gym and I injured my shoulder yesterday in training. But what do? It's not been too bad today. Oh, wowzers. It doesn't feel nice, but I can move it. So I can't really complain all that much. Now can I? And one last point for me to yap on about is I've been thinking about what the fuck do I want? Like I am very much one of those people that doesn't fit in with how society seems to work. Some people just take to it better. It's just never really sat with me well, and it still doesn't. And I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm like. Where am I going? I am a drifter, and I'm enjoying drifting right now, and that's all well and good for my 20s, and I think that's fine. I think I'm okay to spend my 20s just exploring, learning, figuring shit out, and not really tying myself down to anything, because to me that's what your 20s are for. But at the same time, I would like to go into my 30s with having coming out of my 20s with something. I've laid groundwork for myself in some sort of capacity. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do is just learn skills that let me do that. That's why I've been putting a lot of time into cooking. Obviously I've learned Spanish, which is a skill that I plan to obviously keep working on, but it's a skill that can really benefit your life, knowing multiple languages, other stuff like that. But one of the biggest things that I've let go is I mean, I was a physics student, right? I dropped out of uni, sure. I never got my degree. I never got to the end of it. But I was a physics student. I was very good at maths. I knew a whole lot of essentially shite. A whole lot of theories and equations and all this kind of shit. And I had so much more of an in-depth understanding of a lot of the inner workings of what we believe, how the universe works. And I missed that, you know? I was looking at a picture of like something of a test paper I did like years back, and I didn't know what the fuck was on the sheet, you know? But I did that work. I definitely I was there, I did that work. And I know that eventually I want to go back to it. Maybe that might be when I'm like 40 or 50. You know, it might be in the future. But I love to learn, and I do love physics. I find it very awesome. And I know that I would like to continue studying it. Whether or not I would go back to uni, or whether I'd do it like independently or whatever, fuck knows. But I think what I want to start doing is sort of trying to remember some of the stuff that I had learned and sort of brush up on some of that stuff that I had learned, so that perhaps if I would like to, I could go more down a scientific route in a lot of things. Like, I like the idea of going into something science-based, something STEM-based, something along those lines. That's more my type of field. If I were to ever sort of be a career type person, a career-based person, I feel like something along those lines is more down my alley. It's the only real place I can see myself going, and I can't see myself like being a finance bro or any of these kind of things. I find business and stuff interesting, but it's just not me. Science is where I would like to be, I think. So I think perhaps I want to start like doing some things on the side that will sort of bring me back towards that scientific route that I initially embarked on. Because I did enjoy it. I did like it, but circumstances and my weak mental health didn't really play ball the first time round. But that's the thing. We're still alive, so we go again. So I think that's where I am mentally with things. There's obviously a lot of more pressing issues, a lot of in-between things to deal with, but that's sort of roughly around where my mind's at with it all. So yeah, I think that's basically me summed up right now. Other things did happen this week. Do I remember them? Not particularly. Been playing a lot of chess, as you well know, because that's pretty much all this channel is. It's just chess. It's a lot of chess. Lots and lots of chess. But I do love chess. Anyway, shall we, us, move on and sort of have a little lookity look at this album? You think? So, maybe I read us. So, today we have an absolute titan of the game. I've always known his name without really knowing what music's his or anything about him. However, Mr. Marvin Gaye today is who we've got for you with his album Here My Dear. Now this album, I particularly enjoy the circumstances behind his album. Well, that's maybe those are the wrong words, but he was ordered to make 2 albums. This ended up as like a 2-disc sort of thing, but he was ordered to make albums essentially to help pay for or pay towards like allegory payments for the divorce with his wife, and therefore he writes this album. Here, my dear, he said, here you go, here's your money. And it's the most passive aggressive piece of shit album I've ever heard, and I think that's fantastic. I think that's hilarious. It's such a quality way to get that out, and I'm sure he was a nightmare, but it is very funny for that to be the way that he gets it across, gets it done. He was known as the Prince of Motown and Soul, heavily considered as one of the greatest singers of all time. He's known for the genres of soul, R&B, gospel, and funk. Very funky, all the songs actually. Now, one thing that I found crazy, I obviously did my heavy, intensive research and Wikipedia, and his father shot and killed him. And this thing is, I was going down, I saw he got shot and killed, and I was like, oh, I wonder why. I saw it was his dad. I was like, you read through a bit further, and his dad was massively abusive for him for the whole way as a kid. Then he shoots and murders him during an argument between him and his wife, and his son gets involved and he shoots his son dead. And past that, he ended up getting a 6-year suspended sentence. He abused and murdered his son and got a 6-year suspended sentence. He got off with it, sure, because they found he had a tumour or something, but that's besides the point. It doesn't matter if I have a tumour or not. If I shoot my son dead, I belong in prison. Anyway, he was posthumously awarded a mountain of awards and accolades. Got things such as the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, Songwriters Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, to name a couple. Which, I mean, again, who cares about awards really? But if you do care about awards, this guy's got all of them. Anything you could want, he's got them. He also played the drums, which was cool. I found out he played drums in one of his albums or one of his early works, and I was like, oh, cool. He had a particular hankering for cocaine, so a serious addiction. So I can see definitely we're not gonna sit here and just blindly take his side, blindly take the artist's side here in the divorce. I'm sure that whatever there was, this complicated relationship. So we don't want to just sit here and be like, oh yeah, bitch wife gets served. No, I'm sure he was plenty trouble. One of his cousins was Master Killer from the Wu-Tang Clan. Cool bit of trivia. And again, I've written that down because what if I'm in a trivia night, if I'm at some sort of trivia night, and that's one of the questions, and then I go, Marvin Gaye, and they go, whoa, how did you know that? And I go, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's because I went over it in episode number 8 of ZacharyTunes. And they'll go, wow, we should be watching ZacharyTunes. I'm like, you should. You should. If you had of, you would have known this. But you didn't, so you don't. So, and if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike. So, anyway, it's his 14th studio album. Am I reading that right? 14th studio album. And he's got a mountain of albums. I found that when I was on his Spotify and scrolling through it, he wasn't joking. He was putting them bitches out like nobody's business. But it was a massive commercial and critical failure when it was originally released. and it only got its recognition after his death, hence why I'm now here having a look at it. I'm surprised by that, actually. I'm surprised that it wasn't more successful on release, but, you know, here we are. So, that's pretty much all my little background on the album. Before we get into the album, I want to just, while I remember, I want to do my Hyper-fixation Song. Okay? Because I keep forgetting to put that bitch in these. And I love sharing, like, my specific Hyper-fixation songs. Because they're the ones that you just can't stop listening to, you know? And I want to infect you with them. My one at the moment is Bulletproof by Alina. I think this is the second song that Alina's managed to get into my into my show. But this again, it's fantastic. Yeah, the other one she got Don't Be a Stranger in there, and that had me in a hook. And then Bulletproof came out, and it just opens so strong. Like the literal first like 4 lines are such a good hook into the song, and then the song just continues to be good after that. And like, that's effective, you know. If your first couple of lines of your song are good and get people into it, what more do you want? You know what I mean? What more do you want? And speaking of the first lines and getting into a song, let's do the first lines and get into the first song of Here My Dear, being Here My Dear. Let's give it a listen. For some reason, Womanizer was cued by Britney Spears. Don't know what's going on now. Odd, strange. Yeah, so with our first song there, Here My Dear, this is it's the perfect entry to this album, you know. It is an introduction. It prefaces what's gonna go on in this album. It prefaces why we're here. But he does it vibey, and he's just got that smooth, soul-y voice. It feels like we're washing our sexy laundry in public, you know. There's a I don't know what show that's from. There's a show that says sexy laundry, and I can't remember why or what it is, but I'm sure maybe I will remember, and if I don't remember, then I will write that I don't remember, because I probably won't. What is it? I can't think. But yeah, you can really feel the passive aggression from the literal get-go, which I enjoy and I find amusing. The whole album just follows suit, really. And I enjoy that. I'm also thinking about possibly doing this section a little differently. Maybe taking less time to go through each song. And maybe focusing more at the end and just sort of giving an overview. I don't really know. If you hadn't noticed, I don't really know what I'm doing. I sort of just make it up as I go along, which is kind of how this works. But I don't know what the goal for this show is. Like, is it more focused around me and my yappage first, and then music second, or is it focused around the music? I don't really feel like it can be focused around the music, because I just don't know enough about the music to make it music focused, you know what I mean? And I can't stay on topic long enough to make it about the music, so I guess it's me focused. So maybe I will. Maybe I'll just sort of fly through the songs a bit quicker, give the vibes that they gave me, and I'll go from there, or something like that. I don't know, we'll see. Either way, let's get into the second song, which is called I Met a Little Girl. Which is a crazy fucking title.
I mean, obviously that's not what he means, but like... Yo. I'm really tired. It's Thursday and the language exchange is tonight, and I really should go, but I am really tired, and I don't know if I can be bothered. So that's an argument that's going on in my head right now. Anyway, about the song. This song, again, is, I mean, with pretty much all the music of Marvin Gaye that I've heard, very vibey, soulful, fun, like he like the genres that he says he's known for. You can see why he's known for them. He is the king of those, you know, that's just his whole fucking vibe. I love the background vocals that he's recorded. It just holds the song really well. I mean, God, I wish I could sing like that. You would never hear the end of me. You'd never hear the end of me if I could sing like that. Starts off as a really pretty love song, turns into a sad song, which makes sense, seeing as it started off as marriage, turns off in divorce. So that, you know, makes sense. He ends the song rejoicing about how he's free. And, I mean... Wow. Yawn. Right, guys? This guy's just yapping on here. The musical break at the end of it, I really enjoy. I like, at some points in a few of his songs, he sort of just takes a break and lets the music do the talking. And you'd have seen in other episodes, I enjoy when songs do that, you know, like, they go, hey, don't forget, this is music, we got instruments going on too. And I enjoy when they get their time to shine. Let's move on. We're going to just jump through these, I think. We're going to move on to When Did You Stop Loving Me? When Did I Stop Loving You? Which, I think there's 3 of those. There's this one. Then there's When Did You Stop Loving Me? When Did I Stop Loving You? Instrumental. Which, spoiler alert, isn't a fucking instrumental. And then we've got When Did You Stop Loving Me? When Did I Stop Loving You? Reprise. So 3 songs, all basically with the same name. All same sort of vibe. Which I like as well, because they have the same sort of musical composition and stuff like that. I don't know, it's cool.
Watch. Another thing about this album, the brass the whole way through it. I think there's multiple different brass instruments in there. Definitely a saxophone in there somewhere. But them bitches just be doing their thing. They doing their thing. The guitar on this song specifically goes crazy. But the brass the whole way through all of it, wild. Just makes this album for real for me. This song, he's really just fucking laying into it. He's just digging into it. And just basically saying you just didn't love me. Which, rough. Been there, you know what I mean? And he says in this, like, he alludes to the fact that he's like, if I do ever end up falling in love again, I'm not doing that marriage bullshit again. I'm not doing any of that. It's interesting to listen to. He sounds like a freshly divorced man in this, which, I mean, he is. And this is the thing, another thing, like, with the way he sings so freely. Like, he sings like, you don't know what the next line, how the next line's gonna come out, you know? Like, it feels like he's just making the melody up as he goes, and he's just feeling it, you know? Like, it may well not be the case, but that's what it feels like. It just feels like you don't know how the next line's gonna come out, what's going on. It just feels very free-flowing, which I find interesting, that's how that can come across in music, you know? It feels the same way like jazz music has that, you know, like the music sort of just does its thing, you know, and all the parts sort of find themselves and improvise. It feels like he's doing that, which I find is impressive and cool. Move on to the next song called Anger. Anger, obviously, something we'd expect from a divorced man, or men in general. In this one, he goes on a lot about the inability to control emotions, which sort of speaks to the idea that was going on about, like, he definitely was a large part, if not the problem, in the relationship, because it just feels like he's playing down anger and rage as if that's like that's just everyone smashes the house up, you know what I mean, and I feel like there's definitely warning signs in there in that respect. However, the song, groovy as fuck. You've got the like small church keyboards in the background, really go in the background. The guitar doing its thing, the music plodding along. It's a groovy ass song. Which again, the album as a whole is a really groovy album. Like it's almost strangely upbeat feeling for a divorce album. You know, like it's like the lyrics and the meanings and the messages are all very like pessimistic and love is broken sort of thing, but the music itself, it's not horrible to listen to. You know, like. You could play a lot of these songs and not like listen too deep to the lyrics and be in a good mood, you know? Let's move on to Is That Enough? Let's get through that. Chop, chop, chop.
Alrighty. Now, I'm a big fan of that song, actually. I think that might be my favourite so far on the album, up to this point. Is That Enough? Is essentially him just asking his wife, is this enough? You know, you happy? You happy now? And he's sat in there talking about like paying his attorney fees. Why do I have to pay attorney fees? Like why do I have to pay for the way that she's accustomed to living? The background bit where he goes, she was too possessive, jealous. Sure, toxic male speaking with that stuff. However, it's vibey the way he sings it. Is vibey as hell. The whole song's just groovy, man. And then you get like a 3-minute like sax solo at the end. Come on, man, come on. Like it's 7 minutes 46 long. And a good 3 minutes of that is saxophone. Just yeah, man. All right. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that song. I've put that into my chill playlist. It's so chill, in fact, that it inspired me to go take a toke. You know what I mean? Go crack the old Benjamin per se. With that being said, on the next song, let's move our way towards Everybody Needs Love, because everybody does need love, you know what I mean? So let's go hear our boys' take on that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. You can see with this album also how I get that feeling of this would be fantastic to have on in the background with a member of your preferred gender that you're interested in. You know, for me, you give me a nice lady, me, her, this song, this music on in the background. It's groovy time and we're having a nice conversation, the vibes are flowing, it's feeling a bit romantic. That is what this is, and it sounds like this. However, obviously, it's a divorce album. Like he's heartbreaking whole thing. Again, this whole song feels like more passive aggressive messages towards his ex-wife, but to the two people in that room that like aren't dealing with Marvin Gaye's history, these songs would be fantastic for like setting the vibe, you know. I feel like I need to get myself a good sort of like soul and like funk playlist. I feel like I would really enjoy that, to just chill the fuck out, to smoke a joint with a pretty lady, to sort of, yeah, wow, what a wonderful scenario that would be. Speaking of this, I can see why he named the song "Everybody Needs Love," because he literally goes through to list everybody and say that they do need love, and everything, in fact. So yeah, let's get over the page, shall we? And I believe our next song should be Time Together? Time to Get It Together. So let's go get it together. Time to get it together. This song has convinced me that I should go to the language exchange tonight. I was trying to talk myself out of it, because I was like, oh, but it'd be so nice to get in bed and lie down and go to bed. But I was like, social interaction, dog. Like, I'm not going to be in Sevilla forever. I should go and, you know, I should be outside. I should go meet people on specific times, and when I've got like time to meet people, I should go meet people. So I'll go meet people. Fine, all right. But this song, it gets better as it goes on. For me, I don't like the start. He says time too many times, and it just gets a bit jarring. I don't like the way he says it either. But in general, that's not a real complaint to the song. That's just me, like, right now being like, shut up. You've said time a lot now. But as a whole, the song's pretty good. It gets better as it goes on. Like I said, the start of it does piss me off. So, next song, Sparrow. I was gonna try and make like a bird noise, but I don't know what sparrows sound like. I don't know what birds sound like. That's a lie. I obviously do know what birds sound like, but like I don't know how I would reproduce that sound. And I don't want to just say tweet, because that would be stupid. You know what I mean? You know, something I find interesting is that like especially in like this style of music, saxophones really just do their own thing. You know, like they can go with something, they sort of just do their own thing. I was just listening to the sax in this, and like, he's somewhere else, just doing his own. I'd love to get lost in a sax solo like that. Something that actually sounded nice. I'd love to. I wonder what that feels like. That's got to feel amazing. Like being in flow state on an instrument. That's another thing I need to learn. I need to play an instrument, because like the idea of being able to just lock the fuck into that's gotta feel good. It's like speech, like fluently speaking another language. Essentially, fuck. I will learn an instrument. I will learn. I'm planning to start with the guitar. It's the most basic, right? If I had a piano, I'd do a piano. But it's a bit harder to lug a piano around than it is. I could do a keyboard, I guess. I could learn on a keyboard, but like, I could just start with a guitar. You know? And I can lug a guitar around. Obviously you don't want to turn up to places and be the guitar guy. But, like, I can sit in different places in my house and play it. Like, I can sit there and play it. I don't have to be sat up to play my keyboard, you know? I can just play my guitar. I really want to learn how to play an instrument. Anywho's, maybe. So I was just thinking. I'm thinking, maybe, when I go home, if my dad's had a guitar, if he's still got the guitar, I might get it like restringed and learn. God, that would be so annoying for my parents, actually. Bless them. That's another thing. Going back, like, the idea of going home now to then relive with my parents for a while is strange to me. But, like, it doesn't... Like, I'm not mad about it. I feel like if I had have gone and I just lived with my parents straight away, I would have felt worse than the fact that, like, I've not lived at home for a long ass time. I went home for a couple of months and then I moved to Spain and then I go back. I've been places, you know, I've lived by myself, so I don't feel as bad. I feel like it's, in fact, I'm excited to, because I like to spend time with my mum and dad, you know, and then I get to see my sister and my little nephew a whole bunch more, and I'm excited to see my family, actually. Anyway, that's enough of me gushing about my family. We'll move on to the next song, which is Anna's song. And there we go. Sorry, that was really bad. Anna, there we go. I'm sorry. Yeah. This is also one of the other better songs on the album. It's a very good song. Like, for me, like, I'm not gonna go back and listen to it, I don't think. Unless I want to put it in chill. I don't know. So what this song does for me, right? I feel like I should be dancing around my front room with a pretty lady in my arms and just me and her. Not the world doesn't exist. Just dance around in the front room to this song. That's what that, like, especially towards the end and like with the musical break and the slower music. That's what I feel like. And his voice, man. His voice. He's just so buttery smooth the whole way through this album. It's just so yummy to listen to. It's so very yummy. Yeah. He's so... Oh. I mean, it makes sense why he's so massive. You know? That being said... let's get into When Did You Stop Loving Me, the instrumental. Don't know if you guys can hear the aggressive Germaning going on. But there is some aggressive Germaning going on. I love the Germans. What a lovely people. They just are just, in general, I've never met a bad German. Honestly. But I mean, to be fair, I tend to meet good people. Like, obviously there are bad Germans, but like I've not met a bad German. Is what I'm saying. My brain started going down to like some of the things I've seen happening. And I was like, okay, I know there is both. But, anyways, yes, this song fucks. Very enjoyable listen. Not quite. I mean, it says instrumental. This guy does just sing through most of it, but the brass again. Whoever's on the brass, this whole album cooked, and again, it's just something you could put on in the background, like this, and a bunch of the other. Well, I mean, all of it actually. This whole playlist feels like I should be in, like, my 80-year-old grandma's house, and we're in like the conservatory, right? And in the corner there's like a record player. This album feels like it should be on that record player, and like my uncle's come around and he's put that on. That's what this feels like. That's what this album is to me. But I fucks with it. Like, it just, it feels like a warm space, you know? That's what it feels like to me. Interesting. Let's move on to A Funky Space Reincarnation. I remember enjoying this song. So I enjoy it again. Yep, fan of this song. Much, it almost feels out of place. Like, it feels like it's in the right thing, but this is a much more upbeat sort of song to me. Almost takes you out of the, like, divorced mindset. But obviously, you know, like, you can sort of feel whatever you want, so it makes sense. And I'm sure it'd be confusing, so it makes sense to have some contradictory things in there. Obviously, this song sort of emphasizes how music and poetry and art just don't need to make sense for them to be good, because like a bunch of this song just doesn't make sense, but you know, the song fucks, like, it works with the song. It somehow goes with the song, even though, you know, it's just nonsense. But I enjoy it. This song reminds me. It makes me think of a more upbeat version of Tres by Bad Bunny. That I also one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Bad Bunny song actually. What an absolute tune! But this feels like a happier version of that. But I fuck with this. It's a good vibe. Like, this is one of the ones that like brings the mood up a bit. If it was sat on the corner in that record player, this is one of the more ones, you know. Like this, that feels like the same scenario, but like before we were dancing around, slow dancing in the front room. This is like the start of the evening where we've just popped open the drinks, you know, when we're cheersing and we're getting a little tipsy, and then we move into the slow ones, and that's when we're dancing around. You know what I mean? Right. Let's get into "You Can Leave, But It's Gonna Cost You," which is such a valid song title name. Title name? Song title. Song name. Song title name. So, the one thing I'd say about this album is, like, some of the songs, well, in general, the songs aren't individually memorable for me. They're more, like, the album is memorable for, like, what it is there for, you know? Like, it, as a piece, is memorable, but none of the songs particularly are crazy memorable, apart from maybe A Funky Space Reincarnation, but even at that, none of them are particularly jump outy, but they're all good. This song is incredible levels of pettiness, as you can tell literally by the title. It makes sense, which I love that from him. We love a petty queen. For an album made out of obligation, it is very well made. Like, it's a good, like, it's well produced, it's good put out, and it makes sense, obviously, because if he has a reputation, he's got a reputation to uphold, you know what I mean? Like, people expect him to put out good music. So, but respect for you know, making sure it's good and getting it out. Let's move on to Falling in Love Again. And this is basically the last song, because the last song is the Reprise, and it's like 40 seconds long. Yeah, this one sounds like a genuine love song. Again, see, if you had this one in the corner playing, this would be one of your love songs. This would be the one that you'd want to listen to, and then you'd want to ignore the ones about divorce and breaking up. But yeah, again, a nice song. It's just nice to listen to. The man's got an incredible voice. All of his music's well made. what's not to like, you know what I mean? It's enjoyable. But again, nothing particularly wow. You know what I mean? And then the last song we have is the reprise of When Did You Stop Loving Me, When Did I Stop Loving You? And I love that because, so for example, if we didn't have that, the last song would be Falling in Love Again, which is like, it feels like a love song. Like, it ends with how I love you, I love you, I love you. So to have like a reprise of the main theme of the fact that we've stopped loving each other, the divorce, to bring us back to that, even though it's just a quick like 40-second something, to bring us back to the message of the rest of the album, to tie it off as a whole, end it with the right, well, correct is maybe not the right word, but with the same sentiment as the rest of the album. I think that's very well done. And obviously, one of the ways that the Ztunes scale has is album wholeness, and this album is probably one of the most whole you'll find. The whole point, it has one purpose, and it's to pay that divorce money. It's got its context, and it has a start. It has an intro which starts it off perfectly. All of the songs match the vibe, and it's got an outro that ties it off nicely. It, as an album, is 5 out of 5 for album wholeness. Listenability, I want to put between 4 and 5. I gotta say 5. Because there is never a time that you'll be mad at listening to it. It's just, like, it just sounds good. It just sounds good. Like, you can't be mad listening to it. Yeah, no. It's gotta be 5. I couldn't even get my words out to explain why it might not be. So it's gotta be 5. And then for, what's our last one? Memorability, is it? I believe it is. Let's just check here. Yeah, memorability. Like I was saying earlier, the album itself is very memorable, but the songs aren't. So that makes me want to put it between a 3 and a 4. I'm gonna say I want to give it a 4. I want to give it a 4. And maybe I'd take the listenability down. Because, like, this doesn't feel like it was the same level as, like, Shakira's thing. But, I mean, that's not even the point. The point is what it gets on my scale. The scale isn't to measure them against each other. It's just boxes ticked. So, okay, no, it wants 4, yeah, 4 out of 5 for memorability. Yeah. It's got to be 4. So, in that case, this album gets a 4.7 on the Ztunes scale out of 5. As it is just a good album. And it ticks the boxes of that scale. It's... The album itself is memorable. Sure, the songs might not be, but the whole point is the album memorable, yes. So we'll put it at 4, and that's only for the fact that the songs aren't that much. So, but it's incredibly listenable, and it is a very rounded, perfect out. Like it is an album that is one whole album, and as we know, I like that. Right. I'm gonna wrap this one up nice and quickly all together with my DIY poetry section, and then I will bid you adieu. Because I gotta go. However, before I do so, let me read you the poetry. I wrote this directly after listening to this for the first time, with this on my mind, and tried to sort of just go for a long, it was kind of long, rambly sort of idea, like his lyrics, you know. Anyway, when was it that it felt okay to say goodbye? What was the back-breaking straw that tipped the tide? Could I at least get a reason why? Or maybe there is some other feeling you'd rather hide. We've been together for so long, baby. You know I'll understand. I don't care what challenges we face against all we have at hand. Look, girl, I'm just here to support you, not make your life real hard. All you gotta do is tell me the deal. Write the message, I'll sign the card. After everything we've been through, you know that I've got your back. I want you to feel safe in decision. I don't see it as an attack. I know right now I must let you go. You finally cut me through. So go, have your life. You'll make an amazing wife. And live happy as can be. Dramatic, right? I drew as much poetry does. I draw on feelings I can understand, as well as went down the line of trying to make it like feel divorcey, obviously, with the whole album being about divorce. So I tried to leak some of that in there and make it sort of long, windy, something that you could put like music over and you could sort of spoken word that. Maybe I'll make it. Maybe I'll see if it's any good. I'll get Lorcan on Joe and see if he likes it. And we'll do like something along this line. If only I could sing like this guy. Ugh. I'd be ridiculous. I mean, I suppose if anyone could sing, then they'd be a good singer. That's stupid. But anyway, that's been me, your boy. Thanks for sticking around. Feel free to subscribe, like, drop a comment. If you've stayed to this point and you're not subscribed, I would be incredibly subscribed. I said subscribe too many times. I'd be incredibly surprised, is what I was trying to say. But if you have managed to get this far in and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? What are you doing? You just watched me ramble for a long ass time. What are you doing? Drop a subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow for chess, and I'll see you next week for another one of these. Maybe a Spanish version. So, until the next time, hasta pronto, adios. Ciao.
Choco, I get you so broke.